do a quick poll to see where everyone is. Just do that. Bear with me. So I'm just going to launch the first poll just to get a check in with how comfortable everyone is with virtual interviewing. So hopefully you should see that on your screen. Just take a moment to say where you are right now with virtual interviewing. Nearly there. Yay, and we're all there. So I'm going to end the polling and I'm going to share the results with you. So there's the results. So 47%, not had the pleasure yet, but I'm sure we will be coming. Someone knows it's coming, is a bit nervous, had a few, not felt great, and some are feeling good and sharpening up skills. So great. So that's where we are going in. Right. Let's pick up and start with some top tips then. With. So in terms of virtual interviews, just wanted to share a couple of different formats that you might find yourself in. So virtual interviews can be real time. So that's where it's happening right now, face to face, and you're seeing the people that are interviewing you. Or you may find there could be a panel as well. So don't be surprised if you turn up to a virtual interview panel. Or it could be on demand. So some of the virtual interviews allow you to record your response and to send them in. So again, it's still you doing it in a virtual format, but also they can look at that later. Some of them let you play it back and record it. Others don't let you see the actual playback you're sending in. You just have to be confident you're sending it in. And there's also virtual role plays as well. So you may be asked to do a virtual role play. It could be a coaching conversation or a role play with somebody actually doing the role play and the observation, or an observer as well. So good tip is just to check out the virtual format of an assessment process, if it's more a full process, different stages, and what format the actual virtual interview is going to take. It's similar to a face-to-face in some of the top tips, but there are some differences which we're going to focus on today. Key things to check in with at the front end is what's important from some of the research. I thought it'd be useful just to remind ourselves on some of the key things. So 58% is about how we show up. So how we show up virtually, how we show up if we were doing a face-to-face. 38% is about the quality of our voice, our grammar, and our confidence and how that comes across. And only 7% is about the actual words we use. So that's to keep in mind. And the top 3 turn-offs in terms of interviewing, both virtual and face-to-face, number 1 is lack of eye contact. Number 2 is not researching the company. And number 3 is lack of smile. So the good news is if we've got eye contact and we can work that virtually and we smile, we're kind of halfway there, a bit of knowledge about the company. So in terms of getting ready, get ready well before. So there's a bit here on research and preparation. So find out about the company, social media, have a look in, dig out some facts and find something that really resonates with you. Because then if you share that about the company, a fascinating fact, something that's intrigued you, your passion will come through. Think about some key questions. So some key questions that you want to ask, they're important for you, or they match something currently happening in the company. Find out about your interviewer and the format of that, and get the contact details that you need to make sure you've got everything in case of technical issues or anything that you might need to do. Dress for success. So I think a lot of people have said a top tip, particularly with virtual, is dress head to toe in case you do have to get up in the middle of it for some bizarre reason, but also to make you feel confident. And we'd always suggest sort of more business or formal dress is appropriate. One of my key top tips that I love is notes, because you can have notes when you're actually doing a virtual interview and you can have them around you so no one else can see them, is to have 3 power words to describe how you want to come across on a sticky note by your camera to remind you that's how you want to come across in your virtual interview, and that will help you come across. And I think the other thing is to have a couple of other sticky notes around in different positions that you can focus on when you're asked questions, with your key questions to ask, or maybe some of your key examples and experience, bullets and notes, so that if you want to refer to them, you can. I think that's a really top tip, to be able to use your space with virtual interviewing in a different way that you can in a face-to-face interview. Don't have too many notes though, because if you
Sorry, you got on mute.
You're on mute.
Oh, hello, I'm back again now. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Great, sorry about that. So my last point was about the 3 power words. Did everyone hear that one?
Yes.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Great, that was the key one on that. So then in terms of your tech check, so well in advance of any sort of virtual interview, reread the instructions. You might need to install different apps, play around with them, make sure you're really comfortable with the tech. Check your tech setup, make sure you're really comfortable it works. Background and light, so it's really important to have as professional background as you can get, and there is an appreciation, we're all in our homes and working in different locations. The latest online dating research said the worst thing you can see in the background is mess and clutter. So there's a top tip to try and just get it as professional as you can. And also think about the light. Ideally, you'd like natural daylight coming in towards you, but everyone's got different setups and different things they need to play with. So just get it as professional as you can. Think about your position. So ideally, you'd like to be able to see your full head and face, shoulders, and if you do want to use some gestures with your hands, is to be able to see that. And so you have a little bit of room to accentuate a point, or to sit back, or to think. So just get yourself really comfortable with the position so you kind of feel really settled. And then top tip here, think about your profile picture. So a lot of the apps that you go on for virtual interviewing allow you to put a profile picture on. Make sure it's displaying the name that you want to be called or known by as well. I've had some people will come on as iPhone X, etc. And some of the, like Zoom has in the settings, has touch-up facilities that will touch up your skin tone and accentuate your natural look. So worth checking out those to get you in the best position with your profile picture and name as well. So let's get ready. Let's have a think about get set. So a bit nearer to the virtual interview, the key thing to do is practice and record. I know it sounds awful and sometimes we just don't like listening to ourselves back, but it's really important to practice. If you have, practice with a friend, get some feedback, practice with a colleague, get a coach, whatever, but just record yourself and play it back and have a look at your gestures, how your position is, the pace and tone of your voice, and think about how that's coming across. And it's a really good exercise to do. Make sure you've got battery and headphones, just in case you don't run out of battery and you have to get up, and headphones in case suddenly someone starts soaring down a tree outside your house and you do need to switch to that. That's just professional and prepared. Pen and paper, always have pen and paper, just in case you want to make some notes. Noise and interruptions. So in terms of managing that, tell people you're having your interview, take out door chimes, turn off notifications, and try and minimise the amount of noise and interruptions or relatives coming through the room, etc. Do your posture and position check and really just make sure you're comfortable so you feel confident and you can really focus on getting your personality across and being who you are. Breathe. So I always like to, before a virtual interview, before a lot of things virtually, is do a breathe. And my top tip is the 7-11 breathe, and it's really simple. In for 7, breathing through your nose, out for 11 seconds, so a longer one, and just letting your energy and any sort of feelings just ground and breathe. Just a minute to do that will really calm and settle you. Just get you in that space. I like to have a little ritual, so my own little ritual. I have some nice hand cream, and I like to do that before I go on an interview or on a session because it makes me just feel confident, strong and comfortable, ready to go. So some people might do a power pose, or you might listen to a bit of music, something that just gives you a little ritual to go, I'm feeling good, I've got this. Talk to the camera. So you'll have, one of the things to get used to is talking to the camera and expressing that. And then at the times you'll notice, so one of the tips I share with you here is using your peripheral vision. So your peripheral vision is where you soft focus your eyes and you're able to see a little bit more. So it enables you to, while your focus is on the main camera, your peripheral vision is picking up some of the faces that you can see and the face of your interviewer, and you can notice things. As their eyes go down to make notes, then you could have a little glance at them and then come back so you can just get a sense of them. And body language and gestures. So in terms of body language and gestures, the key things to think about are not too fast, because sometimes it can come blurry. Thinking about, you know, playing with your hair, keeping the eye contact, smiling, poor posture, laying back, etc. So really thinking about how that comes across and your body language, fidgeting, different things. Okay, so you're all set. Let's move on to go live. So in terms of go live, key thing here is to log in early, test your audio, your camera, check your profile, check your name. If there's any technical issues, you can look to iron them out. Make sure you've got the contact details. Do your breathe, your ritual, smile, get your eye contact with the camera and be ready for them to come on and say hello. Agree, first thing to do is agree what to do if you lose connection. I think often that sometimes people just get straight in and miss that, but it's really important. And if it's a contact number or you've got another number to call, just get that down so that if you lose connection, you can sort it out quickly. Be honest if you're new to it as well. So you might just say, I'm new to it, or hang on, I just need to put my headphones in because I've got some noise, or just to let you know, I'm in quite an awkward position, but it's the best I can do, you know, whatever it is. Take time to think. So it's okay in an interview, it can feel quite intense virtually because someone's attention is fully on you, but you can just say something like, okay, let me just think about the example I'd like to use for that. You can let your eye contact go to your notes, get really clear, come back with a really good result. So give yourself time to think and breathe. Show up confident as you and have those 3 words on a sticky by your camera right in front of you. Just keep seeing them and thinking about them. Notice their energy, pace and tone and yours, and just in noticing that and being curious about it, you'll settle yourself with their energy and pace, and that will help with the rapport across virtually. Notes and questions, so have your notes, your questions clear around you. Remember to ask about next steps before you come off the call in terms of timescales, what happens next stages, and think about your close. So in terms of your close, have a phrase or have something you're ready to say. It might be something like, it's been really great to find out more about the role today. Great to meet you, understand more about the team. Sounds really exciting. I'm really looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you. And then you'll have to decide whether they do a wave, whether you do the little wave, or whether it's just a thank you and goodbye. And make sure you know where the leave button is as well. So that's kind of go live. And we're pretty ready with our top tips to start. So what I thought I'd do is give everyone a chance to practice in pairs today, to really get stuck in and just get one thing, get you feeling comfortable with one thing. On Glassdoor, the top and most asked interview question is, what are your strengths? So for most of us, if we're going to be going into a virtual interview, that is more than likely to come up. So today you're going to have 10 minutes indulgence, working in pairs. We're not expecting anyone to have your answer on pat or be ready to go, but it's great to get some real feedback today and start your journey on acing a virtual interview. So what I'm going to do in a moment is we're going to break you into pairs in breakout rooms. And in each pair, I'm going to ask you to ask the question, listen to the answer from your partner, and note down up to 3 words for how your partner comes across, whatever comes into your mind. And then I'd like you to feedback. You came across as, whatever the words are. What I liked was how you were calm and confident, the pitch and tone of your voice, for example, and even better if you were slow down or you didn't fiddle with your hair, whatever it might be. So to get some great feedback for yourselves for today. So I'll put you in the breakout rooms, and I'm going to put in the chat the instructions so that you can see those instructions as you go into your breakout rooms. Just bear with me one moment. Hayley, would you be able to do the breakout rooms? I'm just going to pop into the chat the instructions as well.
Yeah, I'm doing it
Thank
now.
you. Okay, so you should see in the chat a message up from me with your instructions. You'll have 5 minutes each, so treat it, I know it's a great community here, so it'd be a great chance to practice, really have a go at it, and give your partner some great attention and feedback. 5
minutes each, did you say?
Yeah, so 10 minutes in total, and then we'll come back for a Q&A.
All right, I'll give you a 2-minute warning, everybody, before your rooms close.
Enjoy.
Hiya.
Hi, Haley. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. You?
Very good. It was a good exercise.
Good, good. Here we go, as everybody joins now. What's everybody back, Juliet?
Okay, brilliant. So welcome back, everyone. I hope that was a really useful 10 minutes with you, with a partner, to have a quick practice on some of the top tips. I know it was a quick run through. I will put a takeaway in the chat. I'll just try and do that in a minute. Just, I know we're tight for time, but if there is any kind of key questions that anyone wants to raise, or any reflections on the 10 minutes. And other than that, thank you very much for today. And I hope you've really enjoyed How to Virtual Interview Like a Pro.
Hi, Juliet. It's Angie Needle.
Hi,
I've got a quick question, if that's all right, because I'm actually about to be interviewing a whole load of people.
Okay, cool.
So it was useful to look at this from a different perspective. What's your advice for when the signal gets a bit glitchy? So it doesn't die, but it gets a bit Dalek-y. What's your advice for both the interviewer and the interviewee in those situations to make sure it continues swimmingly?
I think if you're the interviewer, try and manage that in terms of it. I think you just say, look, if I can't hear you, then can you just repeat? We'll do that a couple of times, but if it goes on for a while, let's agree we've got a contact. If we lose connection, let's agree to pick up on the phone potentially.
Yeah.
So you could do that and have the phone numbers, you pick up on the phone. Or at the worst, if it's really bad or someone completely drops out, is to say, if you drop out, just agree what you're going to do. Are you going to come back on the phone, or are you going to reschedule? And I guess it depends how far through the interview you are as well. But I think it's really hard, particularly when you're the interviewer. You want to give people the best chance, and if you can't hear them, you're not going to be able to really get their answers down and give them the fair chance.
Yeah.
Again, people that maybe it's a clear signal, so it's better to just deal with it, agree how you're going to deal with it. Does that help?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much.
And of course, I think a lot of the tips are go both ways for interviewer or interviewee as well. So great, thanks, Angie. Any other burning questions?
One from me, Juliet. It's Jo
Yeah.
here, and I suppose it's more of a sort of a question, but it's almost that mindset thing of when you go for interview and you're pouring coffee down your front and you're getting completely stressed out in the car park and stuff. It puts you in a very different position.
Yeah.
Whereas almost getting that sort of psyched upness when you sat in your living room or wherever it might be is quite a different piece. So is there anything just in terms of how do you make sure you perform your best, both as interviewee or interviewer, to get in that mindset? Yeah,
I mean, I'd say find your ritual to get in the zone that I talked about. So I like to do hand cream and stuff. I like to listen to some loud music, and I just get really comfortable. I think, Haley's has talked about things like your power pose with Amy Cuddy, things like that. So finding something, like you said, it's like getting in the zone, having those 3 words as well. I want to come across as XXX as well, and just kind of going into that. I really want to do that. And I think sometimes interviewers can be interesting. I've turned up for interviews or interviews virtually. I've been sat in the lounge with mess in the background and light coming through a curtain, and I thought, I've rocked up here to do my stuff today and you've turned up like that, So I think there is a respect about turning up looking professional, calm, relaxed, professional, and getting yourself in the zone. I think the words really help, and finding your own little ritual, whether that's just shutting everyone else out for 15 minutes before, what really works for you and your kind of personality to get you in that zone. Does that help?
That's great. Really good. Thank you.
No worries.
Hi Juliet, Emma here. Sorry, just a quick question. My biggest thing when I'm on video calls is the doorbell goes and the dog goes mental. Obviously it can't be helped because you don't know when someone's going to turn up, and you can try and go to the quietest point of the house so you can't hear it. But I've been on calls before, and some people laugh and some people, oh, it's fine, but others can get quite annoyed.
Yeah.
It's just, how do you think best to manage that?
I think there are a number of things. So I actually physically unplug my doorbell. If you can do that, I do that because I've had that go off and it's like, oh, great, that's another Amazon delivery, whatever it is coming. And it kind of distracts you. I think the other thing is, don't be afraid to use headphones. Because if you put your headphones in, things like the dogs, often you can't hear that then, because the audio is so much more improved. Yes, you have to get used to wearing a type of headphone, and you can just say to your interviewer, I put my headphones in just to make sure you can really hear me because there is some noise, where I'm located today. That's totally professional and totally fine. I think people are a lot more accommodating, of things happening and that sort of thing. But you're right, it is a distraction. So that might help.
Brilliant, thank you.
No worries. Any final questions?
There's one in the chat from Julie.
Okay.
Can you see the chat?
Have a look. I'm going to stop the share. I can chat. How do you position the camera? Okay, so positioning the camera. So ideally you want your camera eye level. Now I know for some, particularly while I was sharing my laptop, but if you can get it at eye level, that is the best place to be. Sometimes if you've got it on a desk, people are going to be seeing up your nose. That's why I said record yourself. Take a camera shot on your thing. Take a camera shot, or put the Zoom on, host a meeting, and look at yourself. And I think so. You want to be eye level, absolutely on with that camera, a little bit further back so you can still have some movement. So that's the best place to position yourself. So hopefully, Julie, that answers your question.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
No worries.
I do think playing it back is quite important. That's a really good one if you can video yourself. Because if you were sat in an interview, you wouldn't be having an interview like this, would you? You wouldn't talk that way. And I think on video sometimes we can forget where our camera is. So I think that also needs a bit of practice, talking to the camera and not talking to the screen. It's much harder, isn't it, doing it like this?
Yeah, it is, I think. And I think everyone kind of has a different setup, but it's important for you to feel comfortable as well. So I mean, everyone has things stacked up on different things. Everyone's in a different location. It's just getting it so it's really comfortable. Your eye contact is right at that camera. So and you can practice with that. I think practice is the best thing. Hopefully you've had some good. How was the practice session? Just give me a thumbs up. Was it useful with the feedback and your partner? Great. Okay. Good. And I think let's say you've had your feedback gifts already today. I think we've got one last poll to do. So
we have. Yeah. Do you want me to do that now?
Yes, please, Hayley. Roll the last poll. And I'll try and get the takeaway into the chat, or if not, we'll send that out to everyone that's attended. So you've got a takeaway from today. Okay.
Excellent. There you go.
Oh, excellent. Everyone's going to ace it. So we're going to put ourselves in the best. So good luck with all your virtual interviewing. Great. And thank you for coming today.
Thank you very much, Juliet.
Thank you, Juliet. That was fabulous.
That was really good, really helpful. So for those of you, just in terms of wrapping up there, don't forget following us on social media. We're posting all of the activities. Helen gets them out every week, so you'll see all the activities we're doing and when we're doing them. We've also got our advocate roles out there at the moment as well. Next week, 17th of June, we have Angela Love from Alexon, coming to talk to us about the impact of balancing and settlement codes, so the impact COVID's had on that. So we're going for an industry technical one now. I know some of the tickets have already been booked ahead of that, so you guys are super keen already, but do go and check those out on Ticket Tailor now. We do have to try and limit the tickets because the amount of people we can get online, so if you're keen to get one, I'd go and get one right now. So that's all I've got to say for today. We've got Angie Needle, Joe Butling and Angela Pert on. So any of you guys got any other words before we close today?
Not from me, thank you, Hayley.
Thank you.
Great session.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, not from me. I think Juliet smashed it. Thank you, Juliet.
You're welcome. Pleasure.
All right, thanks all. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon and we'll see you again next week.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye.